talk almost just like you did on the fly.
Yeah.
So
Going
yeah,
live.
right.
You're live. Yay! We're live again. So let's see.
Somewhere there should be a link to the. I can't really see it right now.
Lol, back. Okay, yes, we are back. Let's try with overs again.
So this is on the homepage.
Uh,
Should I just try the previous link?
what? Hey, okay. Okay, the footage seems to be working again. So I am doing give it to do it. Again, it looks like the video. It's the video that's really disrupting it.
Ah, you mean the Skype streaming?
No, the footage that I'm running from OBS Studio.
Oh.
So guys, if it gets too bad, I'll just stop the footage. Unfortunately, I won't be able to do anything with it. But we can still, I mean, we can still continue to discuss the features or the stuff that we came here to talk about. Leg again.
You know, I'm trying to find a link to see where I can see the stream, and I can't seem to find it.
Maybe it's not public. I don't know.
Actually, maybe.
Details and just the live chat. Toggle timestamps.
Oh yeah, that's so much easier for Kasim to do that because he doesn't do that. As you can guess.
Yeah.
He had
No, I
special
mean,
people to handle that.
yeah, I mean, usually I have someone else to take care of that, but today is just, with Easter around the corner.
Yeah, I guess.
Gaming no, it is
Look,
public. It is public.
can you copy me the link? Because I can't see it on a
I'm
Tankia
trying to.
Online EN YouTube channel.
I'm trying to find it.
Nowhere.
It should be on the.
Oh, now I see it. Yeah, it's popped up back again. Should I try to?
Okay. Do a normal live. This is dead. If it wasn't public, how would we see
Okay,
it?
so it works. So now I can see it. It's all right. We
Okay,
can
yeah.
continue.
Yes, and the leg seems to have gone. Good. Good. So you were saying about overdrives and the problems that you had with testing them.
Yeah, and we were interrupted by lags because Tanki Online and lags. You know, funny joke.
Should call it
Especially
centipede.
Yeah, especially on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah. So what kind of issues did you find? I mean, I know you had an issue with Vikings Overdrive.
Yeah. So, guys, we're back again. Hi, everybody. We're talking about some overdrives recently added to the game. We're talking about changes that are going to happen after the overdrives were released. We will go into talk about the new hull, which is overhaul Ares. We're going to talk about the Gauss cannon turret thing. Maybe we'll talk about that new game called King Hardcore, maybe about something of Masters of Parkour, and maybe in the end something about a mobile version and new browser version of the game. So, the overdrives. We had lots of problems releasing those. They had lots of bugs because they have an influence on almost every system inside of our combat mechanics.
Mm-hmm. Like, could you give me some examples of that?
Well, I heard today that there were some really weird bags when you bugs. So weird bugs when you need to zap someone with hunter, and when he's moving he is no longer can capture points, and if he's not moving he can still capture points. And when you targeted somebody and then you cancel the target in the last moment, then you cannot shoot. There were lots of stuff, and our tester team were, well, literally exhausted for the last few weeks, because that was, oh, that was really tough actually. And we still released this feature with approximately 40 known bugs, nothing major. There are some stuff like, missing sound, missing visuals, or something like that. We had to prioritize those and release them anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And they works, and almost nobody have managed to, spot them,
Mm-hmm.
which is which is good. And they're finally here, and we can finally see how it works, because at no point during our testing and development we couldn't play that, because unfortunately this is not how games are made. You have something in your mind, you have this concept, this design, you can try to play it with the toys or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You can build a prototype, but it will never resemble a real game, and then you'll have to make changes. There are lots of those were. For example, the VASP overdrive were blowing up after 5 seconds. Now it's going off after 4, but it's showing 3 seconds. Actually, 4.
How does that stuff happen?
Oh, that stuff happened very easily, because programmers have a funny idea to count from 0 to any number, not from 1 to any number.
Okay.
So when they count backwards, they go like 3, 2, 1, 0, and then stuff happens. And you actually can guess this is why our first modification called M0, not M1 or something like that, because
okay.
Programmers, these guys, they have brains turned in a weird position, So this is the same thing. Anyway, we're going to change that for a thing. We're going to make some additional changes. So overall, overdrives are now working pretty good, I would say that. They make hulls really adds diversity to the game, actually. But there are changes needed. For example, everybody knows about the Mammoth and the Gauss, and how did that happen?
Well, I mean, why didn't you predict that? Because this is one of the questions we get.
Oh, I like these things, because when you see it in the game, you can easily tell that there is a problem. But when you see it in the design, you can go like, maybe this hull doesn't have a counter anywhere. Is there any? There actually is a counter, but it's kind of mild one. The hunter can stun Mammoth, but for a short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
We need another counter, and we're actually going to add that. So next week, I hope, we will release an update when the VASP actually will be able to turn off Mammoth Overdrive.
Oh, okay.
Not to destroy him, but turning off. If you cut in a blast, if you have any damage from the VASP's overdrive,
Mm-hmm.
and you are Mammoth on the overdrive, you will have problems. Your overdrive will go poof.
Okay, so Wasp's bomb will disable overdrives. Is that it?
Yes, it only will disable Mammoth overdrive, because
Okay.
that Evangelion reference in their description is actually a thing. Because I really like that reference, and it's actually going to work like that. So you can use a bomb to disable AT field, Mammoth AT field. It only disables it. It doesn't deals damage to Mammoth, so you still need to destroy him. But anyway, if he's trying to catch a gold or a meteorite, how you pronounce meteorite? Okay, how did you pronounce that? It's a meteorite.
Yeah.
So if he tries to catch a meteorite, he turns off his overdrive, and you happens to pass by on a VASP, and you leave a bomb, so he will have a 3 seconds of judging you for your deeds. Something like that. And this is actually another.
It's kind of like an analogy for David and Goliath, isn't it?
Almost like that. And as you can see, we are not adding something like that Hornet or Hunter gives additional, especially Hornet, it still doesn't penetrate Mammoth's overdrive. and we are not really looking into nerfing Mammoth Overdrive in any other way. We just want to add a counter mechanic,
Mm-hmm.
such as Vasp, because Vasp's bomb is a good thing for golds and points, and this is where the Mammoths most of the time using their overdrive. So
Mm-hmm.
we hope that will work.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
I did quite get quite a few comments that finally Mammoth is useful.
So it's still going to be useful, but you will need to keep your eyes peeled for the Vasps that come in your way, because if they come to your way, you're screwed.
Mm-hmm.
And if they have the bomb, of course. And actually, another thing that's going to change about Wasp is going to receive a 1 second buff for fuse time, so it can blow the shit up faster. Sorry about that, but it's going to blow just 1 second faster. And it's
Mm-hmm.
going to help a lot. Actually, it does raise concerns about should we disable self damage for Wasp, because 3 seconds sounds a lot, but actually you need to really put your gas to the maximum
Yeah,
to run
yeah,
away from
pedal to the
bomb.
metal. Yeah.
We are not sure about that for a while, but I'm sure we'll release that. We'll look into it. If too many Wasps are going to be destroyed by their own bombs, we'll think about that. I hope we wouldn't have to, but
Mm-hmm.
if occur, we know what to do. And there are actually more changes coming. The Dictator, which is, I guess, the least used right now, and it's really boring. It's going to receive the buff that is actually going to make it one of the, well, useful for the team games, I might say. So right now, Overdrive for Dictator is not self-oriented. It doesn't make him, be super cool or something like that. It's more team-oriented. More cameras you have around, the better your Overdrive. It's going to be that on steroids, because now the Dictator will be able to charge overdrives of his allies. Not to its maximum, for a 50% at least, but it's going to be a thing. So we have a Dictator on your team, and he's ready to pop that overdrive. Stick around, because, oh yeah, it's going to work. It's really going to help you.
Okay. So, but couldn't that lead to maybe abuse of that power?
Ah, you mean, what if I'll create the endless overdrive generator of using 3 dictators at once, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Kind of like what happened
Oh,
with
yeah,
the
of
Zeta
course.
healing each other and
Yeah, this is why Dictator cannot boost another Dictator. Sorry about that, guys. We know you're
Okay.
creative, and it will take you only 2 days to make run the game only on Dictators if that occurs. So, nope, we are not going to allow that.
Okay. You just lost a ton of sales because people were gonna buy Dictator,
Well,
and go
I'm
crazy.
sure that the Dictator still is going to be really useful, especially in team games, because boosting your overdrive up to 50%, and if it's not going to be enough, charging all the way to its maximum overdrive for allies, it's going to be really awesome. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, picture 6 bombs going up at once. It's going to be great,
Wow.
I hope. Well,
Aren't you concerned that maybe these overdrives are gonna disrupt the balance of the battle too much?
were considering that all the way from the where we have actually planned them, and it is somewhat of a concern, but we have tools to mitigate that. One of those is, of course, how often can you use them. And we actually went for this huge game change, especially because overdrives work like ultimates, and ultimates, they are not working all the time. They
Mm-hmm.
happen to be working for some time in a combat. So they are actually breaking the game balance, but this is what they meant to do. So
Okay.
when you have a tank that he's running on an overdrive, he should kill everybody, because this is what the overdrive does. But there should be some counter mechanic, and there should be a downtime when there are no overdrives and the game goes as it were. So there are some concerns. We're definitely looking into that. Jesus
Mm-hmm.
Christ, what am I saying? So it's not a problem right now. We know that game is changed, and we're looking into it, but it's not changed so ruined, because there's lots of fun, and I'm actually looking at my testing team, who's for once in a God know how many years. They playing the game every day. When
Mm-hmm.
you're testing a game, you're not playing it. You're kind of doing it for job. It's not
It's
really
work.
fun.
It's
Yeah,
work.
it's
Yeah.
work. You're doing the same thing. They're playing the game. They having fun. They yelling at me to nerf goddamn shaft or something like that. It's really hilarious. And it's happened for a first time in years. I mean, so people are really having fun. And I'm sure that some rough edges will occur, and we'll try to fix them
Mm-hmm.
with the passing of time. So I've talked about that we're going to change the Mammoth Overdrive by adding stuff into Wasp's Overdrive.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to add new thing to the Dictator so it can charge overdrives of its allies, and we're actually going to buff, the Juggernaut. Poor little Juggernaut.
Mm.
Who's he's really not having it. I will tell you that. Everybody can wipe him out right now. It's somewhat funny, I would say. There are going to be changes with his overdrive, with his reload time, so he can be more dangerous. But it's not going to make him more tanky per se, because I mean he's not going to tank the Vikings overdrive to the face, because this is not what we want. We want the quick tank that runs around and doing stuff. So if you will push in the button, I'm sure you will be able to destroy Vikings and stuff like that in the future, and in the near future, because I really hope we can manage to release that next week.
Oh, okay. As close as next week.
Yeah. So the changes is going to be as follows, and he's going to shoot faster. He's going aim his missiles faster, and his overdrive will receive some minor changes, but they will definitely help, such as his force appliance vector is going to change.
Mm-hmm.
It means that he will have a less radius of impact, but impact will go way up. So you probably will be able to flip tanks like nobody's business.
Mm-hmm.
So if the Viking coming your way, charge the overdrive and going to shoot you, you push the button and he's shooting upwards, and you're safe for a while. And
Okay.
you are going to repair yourself to its maximum with every overdrive on the Juggernaut. So you're
Okay.
not
That's.
half healed anymore; you're full healed every time. So it's not
Okay.
about using overdrive right when it's charged. It will be about using overdrive when my life is going as low as possible.
Hmm. Okay.
It will change some stuff, so I hope it helped.
Well, it definitely sounds interesting. I mean, if it's played intelligently,
Oh,
um,
look at the chat. They spelling hashtag boring. Guys, it's too oh, not boring. What are you doing? I'm sorry if I'm sound boring, but we can go to the fun stuff from now on. And the fun stuff is, well, I'm sure we've done talking about overdrives for now, right?
yeah. We've talked enough.
So let's talk about the Ares, the hover tank,
Okay,
and the
can we
new
start?
cannon.
Can we start with a bit of a funny story about Ares? Hmm?
You can try.
The one that I came up with.
Are you sure you're gonna do that?
Should I?
I'm not sure about that because we're still thinking about making it an official name.
Okay, so since we're thinking of making it an official name, just let me clarify it immediately. It should be Ares, right? Ares, is that it?
Yeah, Ares. That's
Ares.
it. Ares.
Okay, so let's stick to that. 'Cause I have a vivid imagination, way too much. But we'll keep that as an extension.
Ares, guys.
Ares.
Ares. Yeah, right. So, the hover tank. What's up with that? So, you've been telling me that there was some missing in translation. What?
Yeah, no. What happened is in the vlog we said,
Oh, the guys want promo codes. Oh, god damn it. We forgot about that.
yeah. I did give them a few.
Okay, good. So,
So
what happened? Yeah,
yeah, so
Ares.
in the vlog, Kasim wrote something like this thing in front is has a purpose. But I hadn't seen the screenshot. I hadn't seen the footage, so I had no idea what he was referring to. So I assumed it was something that was sitting outside the tank in front of it. So so I translated it as
Yeah.
I wrote it that way, and then it turns out it's that hole in front or something. That
Yeah, right. So, do
whatever
you
it
have
is.
a picture of the hole right now to show to people?
Yeah, I'm just gonna do
So,
something
okay,
very quickly.
while you're doing that, I'm going to explain a few things. So, the new hull. We have been telling you that we are not going to make new hulls unless we release the overdrives. So we did release the overdrives. Now we can make new hulls, and hulls are fun.
Hmm.
Because, yay, new hulls, they means new overdrives. And this one is especially interesting because this one is hovering. And hovering means it goes sideways. Just like it goes, front, forward and backwards, it can go the same speed back. Jesus Christ! In a size on the left and right. How you say that?
Strafe.
Strafe,
It can
right?
strafe.
So it can strafe the same speed as it goes forward.
Okay.
It's really cool because now you don't, turn your turret and right out of the cover and shoot and then go back. You just kind of look in a direction you want to shoot and you strafe to the side and strafe back. So that's going to be changed. You won't be able to easily. No, actually, it's way easier to control this thing because when I give it to, Kasim and Tester's team, they were really, oh my god, this is so easy to control in mobile,
Uh
because
huh.
you point the stick in a direction and the house just goes in that direction. And that right now on the mobile, they doesn't do that. They actually turn in or something like that. It's kind of complicated. So
So it moves sideways. It
yes,
moves
sideways,
sideways.
backwards, forwards, and to turn, you need to turn your camera so it turns by itself. You
Okay.
don't you don't exactly control the turns as you've controlled it for the normal halls. You just saying, okay, I wanna look that way.
And I'm gonna go
You
that way.
Yeah, you're turning camera that way, and your turret and your hole turns themselves to that way.
Ah.
That direction. So it's way easier to control it, but as you can understand, you are losing some of the control because it's doing it for you.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's really hard to explain, but just picture that you can strafe on a tank and lines tanks, and it's gonna be fun, something like that. And the next thing is that it's very, really particular about this hull. When I don't know how you call it in English, the swing, or maybe something like that.
Yeah.
When you do a
Forward and
forward, then
back.
backward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that thing. So this hull doesn't do that, or more precisely, it does it backwards. When you are pushing forward on a normal hull, your hull sort of leans back, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, when you're shooting twins or ricochet or something like that,
Uh huh.
your shots go just a bit higher than when you're standing still. This Hall, when he moves forward, he actually tilts forward.
Mm-hmm.
So your shots go down, not up, down. So when you want to swing, you doesn't do back then forward. You do the opposite way. You just go forward, then go back.
Kind of like a helicopter.
Or forward, back, back, forward. Wait, what am I saying? You're
Never
going
mind.
back, then
They'll
going
figure it
forward,
out.
then you're gonna swing to oh, so right. You're going back and gun forward to shoot up for some hole. For this hole, you should do the opposite way. So it's kind of different. But when you picture it, it's a hole, and you need to go, for example, left, and it leans left, so it goes left just a bit leaned. Leaned. Is this even a word? Oh, anyway, so this is going to be these small changes that will make this hull really, interesting in how it controls. And the thing you can see in the footage, when it trying to be flipped or fall from certain heights, its engines actually compensate for that. So it's a bit harder to flip over this hull,
So
but I can tell you that.
kind of like a drone with stabilizer controls.
Yes, but actually you can flip it. So yeah, it's like a drone. When you're trying to push it, it will recover. This hull will try to recover, but you can eventually turn it upside down. It will turn off its engines because, well, you can fly downwards or something.
Mm.
So it's possible. It will try to fight it back, but it's still the hull is any other, and as hull is any other. Jesus Christ, other. It's still susceptible for mines.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're not going to make that this hull will ignore mines because it doesn't actually fly that high, and the mines,
You can still hit
I
them.
I can joke about we will upgrade every mine for free to a magnetic mines. So big kudos for us. Free upgrade for everyone.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're not going to remove this mechanic for this hull because otherwise we'll have to think about such mechanics for every hull, and will be kind of unfair
Mhm.
to remove one of the supplies entirely from this hull. So it will be susceptible for mines, of course.
Mhm.
And finally, that thing in front of it, the huge cannon. So,
Is that a cannon? Is that actually a cannon?
when we were designing this thing, I used to call this very low orbital ion cannon.
Okay.
You know about low orbit ion cannon, right?
No.
Okay, it's an inside joke. So I called it very low orbit ion cannon. So it's actually a cannon in front of it, or you know, well, okay, let's call it a cannon because that's what suits it.
Yeah.
And what happens if you played a certain game, you will know immediately what I'm talking about. It's well, we are still working on what exactly it does, but one of the things we are working on right now, it's a Hanzo Ultimate. You know that
Oh.
one. Yuga Waga Teki Wakarev.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Did you know that in Australia, someone I think Australia, someone actually opened a church of Hanzo?
Well, they are not going to fly or hover tanks, of course, because they will be upside down. Lol. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, so we're thinking about Hanzo's one. It means it will be the first overdrive that can actually shoot through the walls and
Oh.
stuff.
Hmm.
It's gonna be interesting what you can do with this thing. And it's not final. We're working on it, but maybe it's going to be one of those huge crowd control stuff. And if you are late to the party, you're gonna be wiped out anyway. And it will be really fun to capture golds with this stuff, I guess, because if you shoot that forward, you run inside this thing and you can just sweep around and took a gold. Of course, if there is no mama standing, lol, you know.
Hmm.
Or actually, this overdrive can intercept Mammon's overdrive, but it's actually we're still thinking about the interactions. It's not like we're set in stone all of these mechanics.
Mhm.
The only thing we have set in stone is that it moves. It strafes,
Uh huh.
it tilts, it flies, and it has a huge cannon in front of it. So it's gonna be fun.
And do you think you'll be sticking to the tentative deadline that you gave? You said,
During summer.
yeah, yeah.
I'm sure that we will be quite, yeah. Yes, we can make it during the summer because uh, we are not making only the hull, we are actually making end turret as well, and we are making them fast. Something has changed. So this
So
all
okay,
if
okay, some things have changed. What has changed? Well,
there's things under the rugs, under the how do you call that
under the
thing?
hood.
Yeah, under the hood, right.
Hmm.
So we're working on that so we can make things faster because right now we're working on 3 game clients at once: Flash, the HTML5, and the mobile one. That's a lot of game clients and lots of testing and lots of problems.
Hmm.
And we're going to solve that during the summer as well, and we'll be able to release things faster, such as hulls and the turret. So, should we talk about that?
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk about that. What did, I saw a few of your
The
notes.
Gauss
The
cannon!
Gauss cannon.
Yeah, you know Gauss?
Yeah.
Carl Friedrich
Yep.
Gauss,
Yep.
that
Yep.
guy?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So it's a Gauss cannon. We're working on that one. And if you know anything about games, you actually know that many game designers and game developers and such, they actually sometimes replace Gauss cannon with rail cannon and rail cannon with Gauss cannons, because in a recent Doom game, if you play that, you really should, because it's awesome. There is a Gauss cannon, but it looks really like a rail cannon with two rails, but they call it Gauss cannon. What's up with that? So we actually dig into it, and we know what's the difference, and we have a railgun, so we now will have a Gauss cannon. What's it's gonna do? Well, picture a railgun, but that doesn't pierce. It does go boom.
Okay, so kind of like a cross between railgun and thunder.
Yep, exactly. So you have a. It actually looks like a not look operates like a shaft. So you have your main mode, which is it's not smoky type as for shaft. It's more thunder-like type for the Gauss cannon. So you spam little shots, but they actually go splash. And then you have a secondary mode, which you can charge up, aim at some certain guy, and then it will instantly explode. What's the difference there is that you can actually move Gauss cannon while you're doing that. It's a big difference with the shaft. It doesn't deal as much damage, but it's still dealing lots of damage. And it actually can move. And the aiming mechanic is not the shaft type. It's actually, striker.
Okay, so lock on.
Yeah, you lock it on, you aim in this thing as you do with the striker, and when the loading is ready, you're not shooting missiles, of course, you're just making one huge bomb, and the enemy goes flying. And it's gonna be great. So it's a long range cannon, actually.
And is it a one-shot kill most of the time? What's the plan?
I would say that currently damage stands somewhere between railgun and the Magnum for this kind of. Of course, it takes lots of time to charge and reload that thing, but you can move, so it's kind of funny. And you have still your main auxiliary, firing mode when you spam the shots like you do with the Thunder. And it doesn't charge like with the shaft, or all you need to look at the enemy and get them explodes. And the one more thing about this cannon, it's gonna be not particularly first turret that does this, but one of the first turrets. It has moving parts, not the how we call it, not the cannon, not the cannon part. You have something that transforms on the turret when you're going into special, firing mode.
Okay, so it's a visual cue, so people know that it's time to run and hide.
Yeah, because we were thinking about another cannon with a laser, but there's too much lasers. You have strikes, you have shafts, and you'll be like, not the third one. Come on, Hazel, what are you doing? Make something new. And we have actually, we've come up with a thing when the turret itself transforms, so you can see what's going on.
Do you think you'll carry over this mechanic to other existing turrets? Maybe just a visual cue, like the movement.
It's really hard to install this thing to an existing turrets, but we will try to use that for a future turrets, of course. As for existing turrets, you can add a cannon recoil, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm thinking more of the visual aspect. I mean, we already
it's
have.
It's still hard to do the visuals with how things have done. And when you have so many skins, you need to adapt skins for every visual changes, so it's not that easy. Right. Anyway, guys, Gauss cannon. It's like a shaft, but it doesn't pierce, it doesn't snipe. It goes. It explodes like you have like when Thunder and Striker and Railgun had a baby. Something like that.
Okay, that's a really weird baby. But okay, one of the things that I can already imagine players asking right now is, it feels like you're trying to mix and match 3 turrets, but
Yeah.
weaker versions of each turret, and like it's just gonna be a jack of all trades and a master of none.
No, it's not like that. It actually has a particular niche in the game. It stands somewhere between a railgun and a shaft. Well, the railgun is extremely mobile and it can shoot from behind the obstacles very easily. It charges behind the cover, it pops up and shoots and goes back to the cover, right?
Right.
And then you have a shaft that just stands there and doesn't move and goes with a big explosion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a big shot. So the Gauss cannon is actually in between of those. It cannot use how we call that again. It cannot shoot from the cover as easily as railgun does
Mm-hmm.
because it still needs to stand and charge its shot, look at the enemy. But it can move. It's actually one of the, I would say, the most mobile sniper for the game because it can move and you don't aim actually. All you need to do is hold the fire key and look at the general direction of the enemy as you do with with the striker, and eventually it will shoot itself.
So it's a seeking missile. It's a seeking
Uh,
shot.
it's same with the striker. When
Yeah.
you so the striker, when you lock on the target, it shoot the missile with the seeking capabilities. What the Gauss does is when you locked onto the target and you're ready to shoot, it just explodes. The shot is instant,
Mm-hmm.
and it goes at any distance. So if you charge it anything that on the other side of the map, on a different server, you can kill it instantly. Well, I mean, you can hit it and use the armor and
So
stuff like that.
literally you don't see the shot.
They will see it because it's actually really loud and they see where it comes from.
Okay.
But they will need to, stand still. No, it doesn't like that. They can't see it's coming unless they see you. I mean, when you're running transform, you will be pretty visible. I'm telling you that. And if they just doesn't react and don't hide, well, they're really gonna explode. So this is the mobile sniper, and you're gonna like it because it's like Shaft in its best days, but you don't need to stop.
Okay.
Shaft cannot run away from its enemies. This can run. You can not only run, you can go sideways, you can maneuver, you can do weird stuff, and it still will keep aiming, and eventually your enemy is gonna explode.
Wow.
Yeah, but
with the new hull, I guess it's gonna.
Oh, with the new hull, it's gonna be really funny because you can circle strafe around your enemy and keep charging the shot while you're doing that.
Oh, okay.
It's gonna be really
It's a whole
interesting
new level
to
of
try that.
gameplay. It's a whole new
Something
level.
like that. Yeah, we're really always trying to aim for that.
Okay, so here's an interesting question that I always get whenever we release a new
Let me
turret
tell
or
you that
hull.
question. Where are the promo codes?
No, not that one. Not that one,
Okay.
not that one. Every time we release a new feature, especially a new turret or hull, we get this criticism, okay? You made it overpowered so that lots of people would buy it, so that you would make lots of money, and then you're gonna nerf
Yeah.
it. And then you nerf
I
it. And
I
I want
really
my
love
money
that
back.
one because, well, thing is, balance change is going to occur anyway. And if you're trying to accuse us of that we're making money off the balance changes, it really doesn't work like that because after the 10 years of this game being up, everybody has every cannon, every kind of turret, any kind of combination. So it's not about trying to make you buy another hull. It's really about trying to keep the number of hulls and some sort of an equilibrium in the game. And when it comes to a new turrets, it's not like that because we're not really aiming to make something really overpowered from the beginning. But what's actually happening, it's like with the Magnum. We have tried Magnum for some time, and we have gave it to players, and we realize players have no idea how to play with them. They really can't play. They keep missing shots. They keep doing some weird stuff. So we were thinking,
I remember, just sorry for the interruption. I remember when we were on a live call once, you and I, and this was just before you released Striker, and you were playing it playing Striker on test server live while we were chatting,
Mhm.
and even you had difficulty with it.
Yeah, right.
You
And
know.
who would have known that when people actually figure out how to play with that thing, it's going to be really overpowered because you need to change your play style, and that doesn't occur in a week. Some people learned how to play it with a month or something like that. So what we're actually doing every time is we're trying to release a turret that is going to be relevant.
Mm.
Because making something overpowered is really easy. You just bam, add 50% of damage, and things are kind of done. And you can do it like literally every week.
Mhm.
Without of those elaborate balance changes, you can just say, okay, this week is a week of a thunder. It's going to be have twice the damage as the last week. So everybody buy thunder, lol. Is it going to be good? Is it well, essentially, when people saying that you're making money off the balance changes, that's what they mean, because this is the most, efficient way to do that. You just make something overpowered this week, something overpowered that week. It doesn't actually work like that. We're always trying to make sure that every turret is used the same way as the other. They are same level of efficiency. When something goes way beyond the efficiency level, trying to change that, as happened with Vulcan these
Mhm.
days.
Yeah, yeah.
We were looking into it for a long time, trying to figure out what's wrong. Players can tell you easily what's wrong. They just nerf the damage and things are done. No, it's not going to help. But right now we can see how much it fall in efficiency department. So when we release those overdrive changes, we're actually going to buff the Vulcan yet back a bit. Some
Okay, so
damage is going to
okay,
get it.
you just said something very important. You said most players will say nerf the damage or buff the damage,
Yeah, right.
and that doesn't work. And you have your reasons why that doesn't work. How do you figure out um, why something will work and why some, or
Oh
how do
yeah.
you make an educated guess? Where do you get your numbers? Because after,
Educated guess. Yeah, right.
because at
No,
the end of the day, it is an educated guess. You have to test it, right?
sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, because essentially what happens, you have sort of a design goal with the turrets,
Mhm.
And what is design goal with the Vulcan? Can it actually be achieved by nerfing its damage? Not, because its goal is to deal lots of damage on a medium and maybe short range when it's spin its barrels and shooting. But then the overheating part was kind of a debuff, or at least it was intended as a debuff.
Mhm.
What actually happened?
Or as a power check.
Yeah, what actually happened that we were nerfing its damage for all of these years, because players keep using the overheat mechanic as the main mechanic. They using the resist modules, heavy hulls, and they get to just stand there and keep shooting while on the overheat.
Mhm.
Was that the design idea behind the hull? Not.
No.
And should we change because it's not a design idea? Actually, not. We shouldn't change that because it's only not a design idea. But is it fun, actually? That's what we're asking to ourselves. Is this mechanic fun when you are just standing there, doesn't move? Is it as healing you, and all you do is just turning your turret? Is this when we're gonna go with this turret? Is this how we're gonna use it? Actually, it's not. So we've went in a way what we should have do when we release the turret. So make the damage debuff when it's on overheat. Because overheat mechanic, it's abusable. Turns out to be it's really abusable. We
Mhm.
could guess that it will be abusable, but we still had our hopes that players will not use that all the time. Well, players have a different idea, so
Yeah.
we had to adapt. And for a few years, when we tried to nerf the damage, we realized it doesn't work, so we need to change mechanics of the turret. So now we changed that, and it falls in efficiency, and we'll be like, oh man, we'll need to fix something. And actually, right now, we can add the damage, because if we would add the damage before that, when you still had your full power overheat mechanic, that will make some Amonth really, OP in the game.
Mhm.
But right now you can add some damage back and it still be viable, it will be more efficient, and will not break the game. So yeah, it's fun. And about the numbers, how we can see that, because it's not only the guess and educated work, we actually see the numbers. Most of the time it's efficiency numbers, I mean how much score you can put up on the turret, how much crystals you earn, how much score you earn, how much
Okay,
turrets is used.
so you have a benchmark in mind. You have, like,
Yeah,
you'll say, okay, if they're earning any less than such points, then that means that that the turret is not efficient as
yeah,
much
it
as
has
others.
issues. As you have seen in our recent balance changes, we're not only nerfing things, okay? That's
Hmm.
not what happens.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes we buffing things, and this happens for the same reasons because we see they fall in efficiency department. They doesn't use that often, or they doesn't bring the fun in the game and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So it's kind of two-way street. Just people like to, fix on a negative part of that thing.
Yeah, I mean
So
that's just human nature, really. Um, we do get a lot of very valid criticism.
yeah, yeah,
You
right.
know.
Because the balance changes in this game, they have long history, and sometimes they were occurring really often, sometimes they weren't occurring at all for a long time.
Hmm.
And what we should really do is doing them all the time by a small margin. And we still have new mechanics that pop ups in the game that need rise the needs to readapting the turret for good and changing some mechanics really hard. Sometimes it happens. We don't really like it. We're trying to not do that. As for the Vulcan, for example, we really didn't want to change anything for a long time, but well, it didn't work. We still had to.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's the game that dictates the needs of the game that
Yeah,
dictates it.
it's not like you can set it in stone or calculate it or something like that. Players have a different ideas.
Yeah, I
Right
mean,
now, I can.
we get this criticism a lot. Like, the game was great X years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Why did you have to change it?
Well, if ruble were still, if a dollar was still giving me 30 rubles, not at the 60 years these days, I will be happy guy too. But we can go back,
Yeah.
things like that. So yeah, and with the balance changes, interesting thing that happens right now, I can actually see what turret have the players have chosen after the Vulcan nerf.
Mhm.
And that turret didn't changed recently. It wasn't changed, but its efficiency goes way up. And I kind of scary about that turret actually, guys, because you're doing some weird stuff. I mean, I didn't really buff it for a long time, as far as I recall. But for some reason, everybody decided that now it's time to make some changes in the game, and they went to that turret. I'm not naming names for now because I'm still looking into it. And you guys, pounding stuff left and right. So it's kind of actually weird. It's the same thing that happened with the actually Zeta turret long time ago when we had, micro upgrades for each parameter separately.
Yeah.
Nobody actually tried to waste crystals on the self-healing part, right? But when we've merged them, everybody realized, hey, Zeta is actually the best gun in the game. So yeah, let's use that. And we'd be like, oh, come on, we didn't change the gun. What's going on? So it's kind of an ongoing thing. So this is
Mhm.
why we have to release balance changes every so often.
Mhm. Yeah, and then there's also the thing that one balance change just shifts the balance overall everywhere. You know, it might throw the balance off in ways that you could never anticipate. Like,
Yeah, just like right now, when you've nerfed the Vulcan, you didn't expect that some certain turn is gonna get buffed.
hmm.
I indirectly, but well, it's really something. I must tell you that.
Okay, so when you decide to do to change the balance, to do a balance change, you don't just wake up in the morning and say, "Oh, you know what? Today I'm gonna just, I'm gonna nerf Izida, because screw those guys."
I'm sure that players actually picture it this way because it's fun.
Yeah, yeah,
you know.
dude, I get blamed for ruining the game.
Yeah, why you blame Cedric? He's the just
like I get sometimes I get comments like, "Oh, bring Simeon back. Cedric ruined the
Yeah,
game." Guys, I'm just the
gonna really gonna
messenger.
help. Anyway, the team development, I mean, the game development is always a team effort, so you cannot really blame the certain people. It's really doesn't work like that.
But it also means I get part of the blame as well.
Well, yeah, it means everybody gets their part of the blame always, all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, the balance changes doesn't occur when just, we need them. We have actually somewhat of a, I wouldn't say chart, but at least we have a loose schedule of when we're going to do something. And by the time that the schedule comes, we actually revisited our statistics and stuff like that. And I have certain turrets that I have written things in front of them, such as seems to be underpowered because of X, and this seems to be overpowered because of Y, and this might get overpowered if X happens or something like that. And I always need to check that every so often. So this is how it works.
Hmm. Sorry, I needed to respond to someone. Cause as always, juggling a million things. Okay, so I think we've revealed enough about the Gauss cannon. What's next? The mobile
We
keyboard.
have thinking about mobile editions or a King Hardcore, which is gonna be.
Let's do King Hardcore. Let's do King Hardcore for now.
I have nothing to do with King Hardcore.
Okay, yeah, but well, I mean, what can you tell us? Like you're kind of connected to the thing, anyways.
Oh, not really. I actually all my stuff is in Tank and Lines department. So I at least have seen the concept of the game and don't really follow it from the same. I know what it's all about. I can see what they trying to do, and I don't really get involved because I have my huge project to handle.
Yeah.
I've seen how it develops. It's actually going up really fast. I mean, way faster than Tanky X will go. And they're trying for a specific thing, and I'm not really sure if they're achieving that. But again, I'm not playing that game that often. I can only see what they're doing, and they've made some really interesting stuff. They can gonna use it. Unfortunately, I won't be able to use it because it's a completely different engine. But still, it's an interesting concept.
Mm. Okay, so tell me a bit about the development teams, because like we get the impression that it's just one big group, but how does it work? Are you separated in teams? I remember you said some time ago that the development team has doubled in size over the past year.
I do remember times when the Tonkan line was me and those two guys who were actually doing the code stuff. It was a couple of years ago. These days it's completely different story because I have my development department and another department that was working on a mobile stuff and now working on a new browser stuff. There was lots of people. And the same team, actually two of those teams, are set for a new project and they are just a bit smaller in size, but there are still lots of people, and we are rarely switching people projects.
So now
But
everyone's got their own dedicated thing.
well, it was the same way in the past, but there was only one project, essentially Tanki Online. And sometimes Tank Line and Tank X. And for Tank X, the first time where we started building a dedicated team, and now we have several of those.
Okay, cool.
So if you can guess, Tank Online was actually on on really small feed with resources few years ago, and these days we have lots of resources, and you can easily tell that by the amount of releases and patch notes that happened in a recent year.
Yeah, I mean we get a release almost every week. Like this week we didn't have a release, but last week we did. The week before we did. Like almost every week there's a release. and sometimes it's just a couple of lines, but very often there are quite some significant changes.
Say again.
I said sometimes the releases are just a few lines, but very often we get some significant changes.
Well, I mean, yeah, these days we have the most important stuff of the game, the content, new content occurs every so often. At least in a half a year, you receive something.
Yeah.
Not as it happened some years ago, And we're still planning for new stuff. You know about new hull. You know about the new turret. You know about recent changes in overdrives. You are soon going to learn about new browser version of the game.
Nice.
And another one thing we're not going to mention for now because it's kind of a secret.
Oh, okay.
But it's big. It's actually huge, but it's a secret for now.
But you can maybe drop a hint, like you did with
No, I
when
cannot do
we
that.
yeah,
I'm Batman.
the first I remember this live stream we had, you and I, when you were still developing overdrives, but it was under reps, and he said something about ultimate powers. Well,
I can say something about this new upcoming thing, but I actually don't really, do that because it needs to be approached in a certain way.
right.
So everybody will know what actually is going on and why we're doing this
Okay.
and what it's gonna do to the game
Oh.
and why it's going to be fun.
Okay.
And I'm not dropping any hints. Sorry,
Ah.
guys, not this time. I'm sorry.
Too bad. Too bad. Too bad. Um. Forgive me the interruption. I'm just gonna butt in with something, guys. You're asking me about the photo bomb thing. Yeah, I do apologize that I haven't published the results yet. It's just that I've been incredibly busy with all the announcements and all the stuff that's been going on and preparing for this live stream. I'm
Yeah, and
actually
I'm a unicorn, so I can't help Cedric with anything.
no, I mean I had to organize this live stream on my own this time because my Fabi couldn't make it this time. I mean, he's always been very supportive, but this time he just couldn't make it. So I had some tech problems as well. I had to figure lots of stuff out. So that took a huge chunk of my time. But I will publish them tomorrow, so don't worry about it. And you'll get your prizes. Don't worry. I'm sorry, I've quit Tanky Online until the overdrives are removed, says Yahya Lean to you.
Yeah, good luck with that, dude. I mean, from all of these 6 years, I have this running joke that every other update is the final coffin in the nail, if you get what I mean. Because, oh my god, people, I've joined this game when, I mean, not as a developer, as a gamer, when they were telling that this game is doomed and recent update have spoiled everything. That was a shaft. And then I've joined the production team, and they were saying, "What the hell are you doing with the game? It's going to die in a few weeks or a month or something like that." And it drags for 6 years,
I
guys.
remember with Freeze. I remember
Yeah, it's
the
a,
whole Fallout with Freeze. That's when I
you
came
know,
in.
yeah, it's a. I can get why you're saying that, but come on, 6 years. I hear that for the 6 years. Some games doesn't live for a year.
Yeah.
I mean, if you ever trying to read the news these days, some AAA, big projects come and go in an over a span of weeks. Some just can't make it, even the biggest projects. This game's still running. Come on, if we are that bad, how bad are those guys? Like, really?
Yeah, I mean, there's the other thing
Oh,
as
I
well.
mean, yeah, you're right. It's 10 years. I'm saying 6 years because I'm 6 years working on Tanki, and the Tanki line is around for 10 years. So, oh my god, yeah, that
And
recent.
there's another thing as well. This is something that I tell the community very often. Tenki Online didn't even start out as a game. It wasn't even intended to be a game. It was just supposed to be a showcase project
Yeah,
for a
that
game
thing
engine.
Nobody actually remembers that, but this isn't a game. It's actually
A
just
demo
a side
project.
project. Yeah, the demo project to show what our engine is capable of doing. And all of a sudden, we've created the market for ourselves with the only 3D browser game, and it's still kicking. And it will keep kicking because we have just update those mobile version. It's going working on that, and we're going to add you a new and awesome browser interface. And when you see it, you will be like, "Oh my God, they've made Overwatch or something like that." It's that good. I'm telling you, it's that good. When you'll see it, you'll be like, "Oh my God, where have you been for all of these years? I need this right now." So yeah, we are still kicking. This game, this game is still going to be around. I'm still going to receive those comments about final nail in the coffin, and I've done with the game for because of recent update is not really of my liking. We have been there, guys. I'm sure we'll do fine. I'm sure we'll get along. Come on.
we just we just need to keep making money from the buyers.
uh, you know, uh,
I'm
it's
kidding. I'm kidding.
it's actually for the free to play game. You have to do that anyway. The thing is if you can actually manage to keep balance between the paying updates and free updates. And these recent years, I'm thinking that we're doing actually a pretty good job because we have lots of new content that is for buyers, of course, but we have this new content every time now and then, such as free challenges stuff and the overdrives. I mean, oh my God, overdrives! Come on, guys! We have made so much fun in the game for free. You have a halls, right?
Yeah.
We don't really actually making lots of money off overdrives because how? Like you're not buying all the halls just to try them out for it, do you? So it's not like that. It's about
Plus
balance.
we're getting sales on a regular basis. So if
So yeah,
someone
it's
like someone mentioned Mayday a bit earlier. They said they're asking what we have planned for Mayday. I can't reveal that information right now, but I'm currently writing the announcement for it, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun, and it will contain the kind of stuff, some of the stuff that you would be expecting from a celebration like that. But
yeah.
I can't,
So
and it.
don't worry, guys. We are making money off updates, but we are not just making all the updates just for the money.
One of the things that I try to explain to the community, and I think most players get this. Okay, most players understand this. Um, I try to explain to them just how much pressure the game producer has to face, not just from the side of the community, but also from the business side. Because ultimately, the game is a business, and we've
Well,
got
you
employees,
can
and
picture this, guys. If you ever try to step backwards and see how much pressure the community trying to make on the game developers, you can multiply that by 10 for the owners of the game actually. So it's really hard to balance this thing, but this is what we're doing, and we keep doing it, and we're doing it more or less successfully for 10 years already, and we're doing it better than some of the game devs these days who cannot actually fight that superpower of electronic arts or something like that. Yeah, so we're doing pretty good.
yeah. One example I gave recently, I had a live call with some players on Discord, and it came down to this thing about why did you release that update? Couldn't you tell that it was stupid? Stuff like that. And I brought up the example of Blizzard. Okay, and as you know, a couple of
Oh,
years
10
ago.
years after, and someone's using Blizzard to describe my game. My heart is warm.
No, guys. The about a year and a half ago, they announced the new Diablo game that was gonna be
Oh
on
God,
mobile,
yeah, I know about that.
and they got booed off stage. Now picture this, okay? Blizzard is a multi-billion-dollar company, massive campus, loads of some of the smartest people in the world are working for Blizzard, okay? And
And
these are
somehow they thought that that was gonna be a good idea. Yeah, right.
yes, And
It's
here's the
even more
thing.
hilarious for me. Yeah, tell that, say that.
The thing is, they have people working for them that our company would never be able to afford.
Well, you can
Salaries.
afford me, lol.
No, but seriously, I mean,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
volume of employees and and really smart people and really highly paid people, and they still made that decision that took them completely off track. And that's the thing in game development, you make informed decisions. I mean, the decision in their mind made sense because, hey, you've all got mobile phones, right? That was their
Yeah,
argument.
yeah, that
That's what
was
he
actually
said, you
so.
know. Who was it? Chris? No, not Chris Metzen. What's
It
the name?
doesn't really matter. It just shows what they were thinking about it, and it was so emotional at the moment. I can see why they're saying that. It was actually even funny for me because I had opened their recent text on a community management, and I was going to read that because they were saying how to work with the community, how to make the community happy, and then this happened, and I'd be like, I'm not gonna read that stuff, because it doesn't seem like you're really trying to help me with this one. Yeah, so stuff happens in the game industry, right? And
That's it.
I know, yeah,
You make educated guesses based on the data, but
yeah,
you
right.
know chaos will happen
And
if
the
it wants
thing,
to
and the
happen.
thing about that that I actually figured out on my own because I was a gamer, I'm still a gamer, and I'm a game developer as well. So I can see why it happens. It's really the thing of perception because when you are looking at the game as a gamer, you see it as a whole, as the whole, not even the project, as experience of the thing. Everything happens in the game is the game, while when you're a developer you cannot actually see the game this way. You see it sort of in parts.
Right.
I've been working on this part is good, this part is not so well, we had to compromise, but it's not that bad, right? You actually, when you're making the game, you can't really see the project until it's almost released. Such thing happened with Overdrives, for example. We had this idea, we had this concept, we have tried to prove them off, but well, you can only see how it works when you release that in the game. So yeah,
Mm.
right.
And when you have a sufficient number of players playing it, in the case that
Yeah,
games are
right.
online.
It's only that way because players only always have their funny ideas how to use stuff, and you never can predict that. And players, cumulative, cumulative.
What?
Okay,
Chemical?
players have infinite number of people and infinite number of time in their disposal, so they can check everything, come up with everything in a short time. While when you're making this game, it's just really you, the concept, and that guy who's going to write the code. Go figure it out.
Okay. It's like playing chess against a million people.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, now that you put it this way, it does feel kind of stressful.
Oh yeah, if anyone would ask me if he should join the game dev industry, I would say this: hell no. Only if you really like games, like it's your passion, then you can do that. But if just for a
For
for
fun.
living, for doing your job, I think you will do pretty good in some different job. It's too stressful, really stressful. Just imagine us and Cedric, right? We have this community pressure on us every day, like literally. And picture yourself working on some project, and the people running by will always say that you're doing your job kind of bad. Will you be able to hold on? Will you be able to keep doing that for 5 years, 6 years, 10 years?
It drives you
Will you
nuts.
be able, yeah, will you be able to keep this your, occupation for your life? How long can you, last? Isn't this going to break you mentally at some point? So this thing happens. So it actually kind of tough.
No, I know exactly what you mean because when I used to deal games in a casino, I used to work in a land-based casino. Um,
Cedric making money of people confirmed.
yeah, and I mean it had nothing to do with me, obviously, or my skills, because the game is what it is, and the odds are there. Um, but I hate gambling as a person. Ever since I was a child, I don't take part in lotteries, and I consider it like a waste of money,
Mhm.
gambling. But at that time I needed a job, and I went to work in there, and it made me utterly miserable after 4 years.
Yeah, I can tell that.
People
Yeah.
blaming you for their misfortune, for taking away all their money. For heaven's sake, I'm not even touching that money. I don't even get the tips that you give me.
So yeah, people just need to vent off their emotions somewhere. So this is why we are, standing face strong into that. It's kind of part of the job at this point.
On the flip side, I think I consider it a privilege that people would get so upset about our game, because it
So
means they love
yeah,
it.
it's always a thing for me because if the opposite of not loving is not hating, it's actually don't caring. So
Exactly.
people do care. This is most important stuff. So anyway, we have went from the Tonkin Lane for quite a while right now, so we need to go back. And do we have anything else to discuss? We actually have a third guy with us. He's kind of silent for a
Yeah.
while.
So we've got, if he's still there, because I will just keep listening. I mean, when
Are you alive?
he is alive. He just posted an emoticon without a mouth. So
Yeah,
okay, let
he's
me
doing.
let me see how I can unmute him. Where is it? How do I do this? Oh, right. Go
Is
just
he even in a conversation still? It's
no, he
actually.
should be. Yeah. Oh no, I think. Okay. Yeah. I'm calling him now. Gogus. Gogus. Gogus Bogus.
Oh, he is actually went dying on his on his side, I guess.
I
It took us too long, too much time.
maybe he's on a pension now, like he's retired. Okay, we can't get a hold of him. Like if Gogus,
Oh
if
my God, we are still talking. He's not helping us.
yeah.
Come on, dude, help!
Okay. Tell us a bit about the browser overhaul, and then I'll
Oh yeah,
say a
that part.
few words about the Masters of Parkour, and then we can call it wraps because it's nearly 9 o'clock here, and what
I'm not going to
11
tell you
o'clock.
how much time it's it for me. So anyway, I'm going to tell you about the new browser version because things are uh, need to change. The Flash is not going to leave until the end of this year because Chrome and Google and other browsers are making their steps to finally kill it. So we have a plan. It was two sides of the plan actually. One of those was the mobile version of the game, and the other was the HTML5 version of the game.
Because you
So
needed
we
HTML to launch the mobile, right?
nope, not like that. It was in the beginning. We have actually been using the HTML5 version for the mobile version, but now it's its own stuff. So right now we have to develop any content we're doing. We have to make it for the mobile version, for the HTML5 version, and for the Flash version. So it's three clients, and it's kind of a lot of code. When you have a lot of code, it's not that reliable, and you have lots of problems. Fixing it. And Gogus have joined, right?
Yeah, it seems like he
So
has
yeah,
joined.
I'll try to wrap
Let's.
this up. So we have lots of clients right now, and we need to change that. So speed up our production teams and stuff like that. It will help us make less mistakes, and it will help us to bring our mobile updates to the engine, which optimized it as hell, to the browser version of the game, so it can be more optimized. And one of the things we're doing right now is while we're trying to add the new engine to the HTML5 version of the game, we're actually overhauling the UI and UX of the games. So after the 10 years of Tanky being running in a smooth gray and green stuff, we're actually going to look way more modern. And I hope we can show it to you at least on a 10 years anniversary. We can show you a new interface and you're going to really love it. I'm telling you guys, because that interface is really smooth. It actually can be it can be changed over the day in any part. It's so easy to make. We've actually make a search for pro battles by its names just in an instant. We cannot do this thing in for years in Flash, but on the HTML5 new version of the client, we had just it just happened over an hour. Some guy had just got that in because why not? It's that simple. We can just change lots of stuff.
I think most players don't realize just how much of a pain it is to update the Flash engine.
Well, imagine that you run in a car and there is no manufacturer left alive to help you with the repairing of that car, and some systems in that car actually inaccessible, and they work on their own, and they sometimes tell you it's a critical error happened, and you cannot do anything about that, and you be like, "Oh, screw you," and you have to stick with it for a while. So yeah. We're going to change that soon, and what we actually will achieve with that is first, faster development, second, less bugs, and third, you are going to see those 60 FPS in the browser all the time.
Nice.
It's going to be so smooth, guys, and probably, maybe, I hope, no more critical errors.
And I think one of the things that most players don't realize as well is that since 10K Online wasn't created with the intention of turning it into a game, a lot of its architecture, programming wise, was pretty haphazard.
Improvisation.
Yeah,
Let's call it a wild, on the fly improvisation.
Because they just wanted to get it done to showcase the engine,
Yeah,
and then just throw it out.
And that part is still there. I'm telling you, some of the things they've coded in 2009 is still relevant in this code, so it's kind of crazy.
Unbelievable. That's 10 years ago. Technology completely different.
You can tell that some people really hate them for their code. I can tell you that.
I will tell Karpovich when I meet him.
You're sure gonna do that?
Definitely. No, we're on great terms. We're very good friends. So when he comes over to Malta, we always grab a tea together. So, a very nice chap. Very nice chap. Anyway, for those who don't know who Karpovich is, he was one of the founders of the company. He's a very smart guy. And lots of fun to chat with as well. Now I'm trying to unmute Gogus, but I can't for some reason.
Should we just should we just restart this conversation? I can rejoin your call again.
No.
Oh wait, you unmuted him right now.
Okay. Gogus?
I think I unmuted myself.
Yeah, you are.
Okay, so Gogus, just let's get your perspective as a player.
Hello, how are you? Who are you? Tell us, please. Because we need an introduction. It's only been 2 hours of talking.
Okay, it's me, Gogus. You can consider me as a player.
And then microphone goes boom.
Man,
Gogus?
Are you using a 10K Online microphone?
It'd be the especially laggy one? Try again.
Am I lagging?
I guess we can't hear you, dude. We just hear little snippets. You know what would be really awesome? One day I want to get a guest on a live stream, and he'll be sounding perfectly, but I'll be trolling him and say, we can't hear you. You're lagging. You're breaking up.
Like in that Star Wars movie, right? Yeah, right.
I love that stuff. I love trolling players.
Yeah, what you're doing with me right now, or what?
Dude, no, no, dude, you're breaking up. Seriously, we can't hear
Oh,
you.
really?
Do you have another
You,
microphone, maybe?
um, I don't think so.
Do you
Okay.
have something of a ongoing sound switch or something like that? It seems like you've been the sound level being changed when you're talking.
Yeah, it seems to be dropping. Anyway, dude, we can't really hear you. So, um,
Okay,
w-
does it work perfectly now, or still has problems?
It's actually a bit better. Maybe we should try it.
Okay, so
okay,
just tell me if
Let's
you.
let's give it a shot.
let's give it a
Yeah,
shot.
yeah,
Yeah. So, overdrives. Have you meddled with them yet?
yeah. I've played with them like since they came out 9 days ago,
Okay,
and
and what have you tried? Which ones have you tried?
all of them actually, all of
Oh,
them are great.
okay. Any particular favorite?
Exactly.
Uh,
I really like the Hornets Overdrive.
What's that? The Hornet?
Hornet. Ah, I guess I know why. Actually, this overdrive is most skill based, and players who know what they're doing can use 10 overdrives over the one battle.
Yeah, I just don't want to be overpowered, like use any offensive overdrives. But for this Hornet Overdrive,
Dude, we lost you. We've lost you. We've
It's
lost you
so
completely.
awesome playing Hornet, so we lost him. He's actually went into the horizon on his Hornet, kicking the butts left and right with his awesome overdrive. So
Okay,
yeah, Hornet.
look, let's wrap it up. I'm just
hmm
gonna say something really quickly about
well, I
Masters of.
don't know what's happening with my microphone now.
Uh,
Yeah, I wonder.
anyway, um, yeah, okay.
Wow, now you're really far away.
Who, me?
Like, I mean, I'm in the middle of Russia, so I'm kind of really far away, but you know.
Okay,
Russia jokes coming in. How much vodka do you drink these days? Huh, Cedric? Do
yeah,
you drink your favorite Perm's vodka or something like that,
Graudu.
you know?
I drink the
Do you have
Graudu.
any favorite vodka?
Not really. I'm
Where
not
is
much.
everybody?
Not.
Why am I alone talking?
Hello.
Oh my god, what's going on?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Guys?
Yo, can you hear me?
Hello.
Okay,
Wait,
guys?
wait.
Wait, I was muted. Did you mute me or something?
Now I can hear you guys.
Can you hear me?
I was right in the middle of my vodka joke.
Yeah, which we shouldn't make because we have underage kids here.
And it's gone?
Sam,
Cedric?
one moment. Hello.
um,
Yeah, can you
You
hear me?
have just muted yourself for some reason?
Apparently yes.
So he is drinking his vodka, I guessed.
Let's stay off the vodka jokes since we have underage kids here. So- okay, so Masters of Parkour. Let me just find the footage file. Yeah. To transition. Yay! We have the footage. Okay, so Masters of Parkour. So last year we didn't have Masters of Parkour because someone couldn't release Overdrives in time.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Actually, the strange thing is that overdrives don't seem to have affected parkour that much. That's the
Yeah, you
feedback
know
I'm
what?
getting.
That was one thing we wasn't sure about that much because it could have, at least it was going to when we were thinking about it, but turns out to be that parkouring on the nuclear explosions is not really that bright of an idea. And the Viking doesn't make you go, on steroids walking on walls or something like that because it actually has the countermeasure installed for a kickback.
Mm.
So it's well, it could have occurred, but yeah, it didn't.
No, but we are gonna make it up to the community this year. First of all, this edition of Masters of Parkour is gonna have.
Guys in the chat said that vodka makes good videos for car accidents. You know your stuff, dude. Yeah, right. I'm sorry about that. No more vodka jokes.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna have physical prices this time. We're gonna have keyboards and gaming headsets and stuff. Um, you can see the official announcement. Um, One important distinction that is going to be from the Russian tournament. The Russian tournament is going. The final stage for the Russian tournament is going to be based primarily on time trial, so the fastest team wins. And we realized from feedback from the community and from our helpers that in the international community, parkour is more about getting the perfect trick, getting the perfect stunt done.
I'm sorry, getting a perfect trip, really?
Trick, trick.
Trick. Oh, yeah, right. It's been midnight in Russia. It's okay.
Yeah,
We're having some tricks.
yeah. No, having the getting the perfect stunt, doing the
Yep.
exact amount of flips that you want to do and getting in a certain position and the camera angle and everything. And we felt that putting the pressure of a time trial on top of performing live in front of other, like in front of viewers, it was taking away from that element of beauty of parkour. So we're still gonna have a time element, but it's only going to be a small percentage of the score. The majority of the score for the finals will be based on the judges' opinions of the tricks of the stunts. So we're hoping to achieve a better balance like that, and get and have a show that people can enjoy. Okay, and that's why we're giving the maps ahead of time so that the parkourists have time to study them a bit more. Because if they only get them an hour before, then there's going to be a lot of downtime during the stream and it gets boring and people leave, which would suck. So we're hoping to have a much more exciting tournament this time round. Prizes are great. Check out the official announcement. I did, but did I post the official announcement? Because I post so many announcements every day nowadays that I just forget. I just forget.
Yeah, I wonder why you have to post so many announcements these days. Maybe because the developers are working on the game, goddamn, for last years.
Indeed,
Finally,
no, indeed.
yeah.
It's the work on the publishing side from the
Cedric,
first time. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Are you sure that these guys can see promo codes? Just asking. I don't really follow that.
What? No, no, I'm posting them in chat.
Ah, yeah, right. So, okay,
Yeah, and in
figure
fact,
that out.
it's about time that I post a few more. Catch them. I love this. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, work has on the publishing side. Work has quadrupled for me since the first time that I was community manager. It's gone way out of proportion, and I'm constantly optimizing my workflow to try to work faster, and still, I'm like constantly just my head is above water, and which is why then I end up with delays in announcing the results of a contest like photobomb, and people get upset at me.
Oh, did you have some good ones? Because when I've seen what they show me on Russian side, I was like, oh my god, those quality of work is really something. It really goes all the way from the all the way button to the oh my god, how did you do that?
Remember, if you remember, we had a live stream when you were about to launch Magnum,
Yep.
and we had a contest where people had to guess what Magnum would look like.
And
And we had one submission that looked like a very weird toy that wouldn't be appropriate to mention during this live
I guess I know what you're talking about.
with three turrets, like
Okay, good. That's a nice topic for the end of the stream.
Yeah, I mean
So we have a huge three-thing gun instead of a Magnum. Yeah, I guess I know what you're talking about.
yeah. No, I mean there are some nice submissions, you know, but typically when we have these contests, I need to judge. I call it eye bleed time because by the end,
Yeah, right,
by the
right.
time I'm done with it, it's my eyes are literally bleeding.
Actually, every time we're going to release the release, I call that I bleed time as well because lots of decisions need to be made in a short terms of time, and not all of them are easy.
Yeah, yeah, and yet you get flack either way, you know.
Well, yeah, so it's only the amount of problems you're going to face after that.
It's a, yeah.
You know that's going to be bad anyway, whenever you try. So all you can handle is how really bad it's going to be this time. Small
Yeah.
bad or a huge bad or something like that.
Yeah, but then I mean you get stronger and more resilient, right?
Head, right.
Like when we had tank apocalypse.
Oh, that was actually pretty chill time. I was just sitting on my chair, drinking tea, looking how people running around and screaming at each other. Not much stuff to do. But when it's actually something like overdrives or drones or, events like Donkey Days, like something Halloween, stuff like that, this is when my butt's gonna fired up, something like that. Head's on fire, hair's on fire, me on fire. I drink in fire. I spit fire. It's oh my god,
Uh,
lots of stuff.
Sergei Tarasov, the previous head community manager before the one we have now, he once he told me being a game developer or whatever working in game development is like riding a bike, except the bike's on fire, you're on fire, and there's no seat.
Yeah, something like that. That's a release time, the most fun time of the year.
Anyway, guys, let's call it a day, and thank you all for coming. I hope you had fun. Thank you, Hazel, for sticking up with us till past midnight after a very long day and a live stream with the
I'm
Russian.
still alive after two live streams. How I managed to do that? Oh my god.
And now probably
have
it's 3 hours of gaming. Yeah, probably.
Why only 3?
What are you
It's a
playing
bit
right
more
now?
than that. Actually, I am checking out that looter shooter games like Warframe, Division 2, and I'm actually finishing my next game plus Sekiro run. And I'm really enjoying that game because I can finally chill out. I know it sounds weird, but I'm chilling out playing From's games because they are all about the rhythm, and I like that stuff. And I know you won't believe me, but I really like Sekiro for being a funny game. When you're killing stuff and that stuff killing you all over again. I mean, god damn it, 3 hours on a final boss. Oh my god, I'm going to do that again tomorrow. Ah!
Yeah.
Wish me luck.
Have fun. Okay, thanks a lot, guys, for coming. Hope you had fun, and yeah, see you. Now I just need to figure out how to stop this stream. How do I say? Okay, end stream.
Pull the
Big-
plugs in your house. Every plug you can see. It's gonna work. I'm
Okay.
telling you, I tried that. It works in Russia. It should work everywhere.
Okay. Bye, guys.